Good afternoon and welcome to the February 2026 Police Community Advisory Committee meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order. I'd like to thank those that were able to make it in person, but for those that couldn't make it, you can still join us through Zoom, and you will be able to find the web ID and the link available on the posted agenda on the city website. So maybe next time you will. Okay. So can we go to Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Martha, can we have the roll call?
Yes. Councilmember Rivera? Councilmember Camacho?
Present.
Councilmember Miller? Councilmember Gasca?
Present.
Councilmember Hayes? I'm sorry, Chair De La Rosa?
Here. Thank you, Martha. Okay, I just want to let everybody know here that our chief has an important meeting after this one, a community meeting. So we're going to go kind of quickly on this one, cover the most important points and be out, okay? So we will go to general public comment. We are now open for public comment. 2 minutes. So anybody have anything? None here, okay. Anybody on Zoom, Martha?
No comments via Zoom.
No one on Zoom, so we will continue. Consent agenda, we'll go with the approval of the minutes of January 28th. Is there any questions or comments from the committee members on the agenda? None?
I do have a question. On when we vote for the committee members that are absent, it shows as abstain. Is that traditional, or is that they were not here to abstain? So can it be noted differently?
Yes, I will make a change. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it.
Thank you. That'll be my own question. I move to approve.
Okay, now we are now open for public comments on the item. Any comments on Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve the minutes of January 25?
Can I please get who made the motion, please, and who seconded? Okay, Camacho motion, second by Casca. Thank you.
Okay. With a motion from committee members and a second from the other committee member, we will have a roll call, a vote.
Committee member Rivera?
Aye.
Yes to accept it? Okay, thank you. Committee member Camacho? Yes. Committee member Miller? Perhaps. Okay. Committee member Gasca?
Yes.
Committee member Hayes? Chair De La Rosa?
Yes, yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So now we will go to our chief's report.
The second was questions regarding communication to the community, including practices related to press releases or specific social media platforms. The department is currently recruiting for a public safety information officer, which we would call communication specialist. who will be dedicated to managing and disseminating the news and information on a full-time level. So we're really excited to hopefully be able to hire somebody soon for that. The third question was related to bicycle safety grants. The department did receive an Office of Safety grant for OTS, Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Grant, in September of 2025. Traffic Sergeant and our management analyst gave an excellent presentation on that to the Traffic and Transportation Commission on January 8th. So we encourage you, if you have any questions, you can actually watch that on the Salinas channel as well. And the last thing was related to activities to address prostitution and the changes to the California Penal Code. So that will be the second part of today's presentations to kind of address those. And lastly, we're going to be going to council on March 10th to go over the Assembly Bill 481 presentation that what you will be receiving today. So two presentations. One is the Assembly Bill 481, and the second one will be the Human Trafficking and Prostitution update, including Operation Reclaim and Rebuild that Commander Warner, who's here with me, will also be presenting on. So that concludes the report. If we want to move forward to the actual presentation of AB 481.
I have a big voice anyway. On the bicycle safety grant that you received, once you have that in place, are the bicycle lanes going to be enforced so people don't park there on a regular basis? I mean, there's a lot of traffic parking in the bicycle.
We'll address that.
Okay.
So on the email we sent to you provides a link to our presentation of traffic and transportation as well as the PowerPoint that was provided there. So I think that was in the email that we sent to you a few days ago.
Okay.
That grant is very prescriptive. It can only support OTS allowed activities. Right now, we subcontract 100% of those grant funds we receive to Ecology Action, who focuses on bicycle and pedestrian safety education to second and fifth graders. So pedestrian safety to second graders, bicycle safety to fifth graders. So those are the activities under that grant, and those are the limited activities we can do. We can't change it. We put in an application a year before we get the grants, and we have to prescribe what it is within the menu of allowable activities by OTS.
Great.
So that's
Thank
what
you.
that does.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Public comments on the item?
Just for clarification, what is OTS?
What is O2 it?
OTS, did you say?
It's the Office of Traffic Safety.
Thank
So
you.
there's a state office, but the funds are actually a federal pass-through.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any more questions for committee members? Any public comments on the item? Zoom, any comments on Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Okay, committee member comments? None? No action on this one. So now we are moving to our presentations. We will receive our presentation from Human Trafficking and Prostitution Response.
We're going to do the Assembly Bill 481 presentation first, if that's okay.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
We don't have the clicker? Oh, you do? Okay, thank you. No, it's okay. It's not working? Okay, excellent, no problem, that's okay. Can you do Next page, please. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about the ordinance and the Article 3 to Chapter 27 of the Salinas Municipal Code pertaining to the military equipment use policy in compliance with Assembly Bill 481 that was adopted by our City Council here on August 23rd of 2022. Our annual report was released January 28th of 2026. We are having a community meeting after our meeting here this evening on Assembly Bill 481. And we will be reporting to council, again, as mentioned earlier, to renewal of the ordinance number 2657 on March 10th of 2026. I'll talk a little bit real briefly about Category 1, which is unmanned aerial systems, also referred to as drones. Again, the purpose is for law enforcement operations to preserve life and enhance public safety. Authorized examples may be deployed when overhead view could and would assist officers in incidents or commanders with planning and responding to critical situations. Some of those examples are collecting evidence in the form of aerial photography, fleeing suspects or hostage situations, high-risk search warrants, major traffic assessments, and mutual aid. For 2025, our number of authorized usage was 397. Our annual cost was 0. And unauthorized use or complaints as a result of those 397 were 0. Continuing on to Category 1, again, the purpose is to use during critical incidents to remotely gain visual and audio information or deployed for a specific purpose to increase safety for the officers in the community. Authorized examples include inspect dangerous locations from a position of safety, locate barricaded subjects, deliver hostage negotiation phones, open doors, clear buildings, establish two-way communication. Number of authorized usage, again, were 0 all of last year. Annual cost 0, and unauthorized use or complaints were 0. Moving on to Category 2 is our MRAP vehicles, Rescue 1 and Rescue 2. There are the photos of them there. Very important piece of equipment that we use. Our primary use is for safely transporting personnel to and from critical incidents, extracting citizens from volatile situations. Examples of authorized use is to support the SWAT team, our VSTF, and patrol during critical incidents, pre-planned high-risk search warrants, when greater protection, i.e. personal body armor or shield is required, provide mutual aid for natural disasters, such as large-scale fires and flooding, and to community events. Statistics for last year, number of authorized usage were 18. Annual costs, $30,860.78. Unauthorized use and complaints were 0. I also wanted to note that the reason there was a higher cost in 2025 to Rescue 1 was a result of some emergency equipment and some damages to the brakes and axle changes. Moving on to Category 5, which is our Salinas Police Department's mobile command vehicles. We have 2 of them there. First one is a mobile incident command. Provides command response to critical incidents or natural disasters, and as a mobile-based operation which is fully contained and equipped with communication equipment used at large-scale events to provide high visibility and public safety. Again, that's the mobile command van. The second vehicle is our ICAC vehicle, which is our Internet Crimes Against Children forensics evidence vehicle. We use that as part of a county-wide task force to aid in response to technology-facilitated child sexual exploitation of children. So it's a really, really important piece of equipment. The first one I'll discuss and how many usage were 5 for our mobile incident command. Annual cost was $148,982.12. Unauthorized use or complaints were 0. The high cost in 2025 was for a major upgrade to the command vehicle, which was approved by council in June of 2025. Some of those repairs included technology, new computers, radios, physical renovation to expand our command area. I mean, it was really a much-needed repair, and it's been a great resource for us. And then I'll talk about the ICAC vehicle. Number of authorized users was 13, and the total annual cost was $245.15. Unauthorized use and complaints were 0. Moving on to category 7, which is breaching rounds. The purpose for this is to defeat locked doors in situations where delay would be dangerous to officers and occupants. These breaching rounds disintegrate upon contact, making penetration through a barrier less likely. Authorized examples include in high-risk incidents in order to expeditiously gain access into an area. Now, again, these rounds are designed to destroy the object it hits and then disperse into a relatively harmless powder. Number of authorized uses, 0. Annual cost, 0. Unauthorized user complaints, 0. Moving on to category 8, which is our breaching shotguns. The purpose of these is to defeat a locked door in situations where delay would be dangerous to officers and or occupants. Such examples are in active shooter situations or the arrest of a potentially heavily armed individual. Number of authorized uses was 0. Annual cost, 0. And unauthorized use or complaints were 0. Moving on to category 10, specialized firearms and ammunition. The purpose is to equip officers to address risks posed to the public and department members by violent and sometimes well-armed individuals. These firearms are to be used as a precision weapon to address a threat with more precision and or greater distance than a handgun. Examples are active shooters or individuals that are well-armed. 2025 statistics, number of authorized usage were 0, annual cost 0, unauthorized user complaints were 0. Category 11, firearm accessories designed to launch explosive projectiles. The purpose, again, to limit the escalation of conflict by the use of less lethal options in conjunction with de-escalation tactics. Salinas Police Department does not utilize this piece of equipment as designed. Salinas PD does not possess explosive projectiles. The use is in the same manner as a 40 millimeter launcher or a less lethal force, similar to category 14. We have these as options to de-escalate if necessary, but as you can see in 2025, we've been very successful in other means and measures, and we have 0 authorized usage, 0 costs, and unauthorized user complaints were 0. Moving on to category 12, distraction devices, also known as flashbangs. The purpose of this is light sound devices may be considered when in use would potentially reduce the risk or injury during a critical incident. Except in emergencies, i.e. life-threatening situations, light sound devices shall not be used without prior authorization of the tactical commander or a team leader. Examples are barricaded subject or a hostage situation, high-risk warrants to distract a potentially violent individual. Number of authorized users were 28, annual cost is 0, unauthorized use or complaints associated to this device is 0. Category 12, again, distraction devices, chemical agents, and smoke canisters. Purpose is commonly referred to as tear gas, these chemical agents. Examples, after the suspect has been given numerous opportunities to surrender peacefully, and the tactical commander is satisfied that negotiations have been exhausted. These type of devices can and will be used. Examples are a barricaded subject based on the circumstances. Number of authorized users in 2025 were 11. Annual cost $1,857.25. Unauthorized user complaints were 0. Category 14, 40 millimeter projectile launchers or munitions. I talked a little bit about it in the earlier slide, but the primary reason is to limit the escalation of conflict by the use of less lethal options in conjunction with de-escalation tactics. When feasible, Examples, if the person is armed with a weapon and tactical circumstances allow for a safe application of the approved ammunition, and the person has made credible threats to harm himself or others, or there's probable cause to believe that that person has committed a crime of violence and refusing to comply with lawful orders. Number of authorized usage were 14 last year. Annual cost, 0. Unauthorized use or complaints were 0. I'll talk a little bit about some of our purchasing requests that are anticipated this year in Category 5. Under command and control, we're finishing an upgrade of our mobile command vehicle if funding can be secured. We'd like to continue to seek funding for the acquisition of a tactical armored vehicle specifically designed for law enforcement purposes and tailored for urban and city environments. And under Category 10, specialized firearms, the potential replacement of precision rifles. And these are only as needed. Replacements or replenishing are managed on a case-by-case basis due to usage, loss, and damage. That concludes the report. And as always, your feedback is important. So if there's any questions you may have, myself and our SWAT and VSTF commander here to answer any of those questions.
Just quickly, on one of your slides that went for the flashbangs, it said that there was a 0 cost, but there was like 14 uses or something. I can't remember the number. Why would that be a 0 cost?
She can, my guess is that they were purchased in prior years, so we had them.
So it's a little bit confusing, and for some of these, you have to look at the AB 41 report. The AB 41 report details the purchasing cost. The annual costs are just the annual costs needed to maintain an item. So for most of them, like flashbangs, they are purchased and that's it. They're purchased and they're used. So anytime we make a purchase of any of these equipments, it has to go to City Council. These are all publicly available documents. You can go through, search AB 41 and see every purchase that we've made through City Council. So we tend not to put that on our slideshow, but it is in the report, tells you the purchasing cost, but not necessarily when we purchase them. The other is training. So the only thing you'll see is training costs. So one of them on the chemical agents, there was a figure for it. Those are because we purchase inert projectiles to utilize for training. And so they're very specific, tied only to that piece of equipment. So I hope that kind of explains.
Thank you.
So there really are costs, but the purchases are counted separately.
Thank you.
So to clarify, the annual cost does include only maintenance and training?
It's any, so maintenance would be, yes, maintenance, so it may be the vehicle maintenance,
Okay.
or upgrade, minor upgrades. The mobile command vehicle actually went to City Council because it was a substantial upgrade. So we went to City Council and said, we're looking to do a substantial upgrade that will actually enhance the capabilities of this machine. So for that reason, we went to City Council. Something like putting emergency lights on one of our MRAPs, we didn't go to City Council because it's just kind of a standard maintenance. We just want to add something that didn't substantially change how we utilized it. So those are maintenance there. Some of our weapons, some years will have maintenance costs because we have them serviced, we have the chambers redone, we have things like that. And then if there's any specific purchases related to training, so I mentioned the inert projectiles it's for our pepper ball system. The other ones is we have training rounds that we use for our 40-millimeter launchers, and they're specific training, and those are reported as part of the annual costs.
One of the things that I didn't notice that I thought was really useful on the report was the quantity of each. It's not on here. So I think that's important to show the community, because if when the community hears we're getting $1 million of new equipment, we had 6, we never used them, there was no annual cost, and we want more, then it's good to know how many of each we have.
It is, so I would say that's always in the annual report. It tells you how much it is. On the slides, it's a little bit more difficult because, for example, drones, we have 5, 7 different ones. And so in the annual report, they're very specific. It's the number of inventory of each individual specific item. And so this would be a 100-page slide deck
Right.
if we were to put all of those on here.
Thank you. And I think that was my same question. So.
I do have one question, sorry. Just in regards to the uses, is that individually? So say tear gas, each can, or is it an incidence as a whole, where you have a situation and you're using multiple?
It would be each individual piece of equipment.
So the usage is per event. So if it's one event and we launch 3 cans, then that's one event. Okay?
Thank you.
I just think it's positive that we have this equipment and it's not used, because at least we know it's there when we need it. So I've always been a fan of giving as much as the police need to the police. That's one area that I'm an advocate for, because I think it's very important for everyone to be safe. And if you're going to use this equipment, now, are all the police officers trained to use this equipment, or is there just a certain amount of training, officers that get trained?
Thank you. Ms. Hayes, yes, as a police chief, the safety of my officers in this community is my top priority, right? And you mentioned that it is really a luxury to have every tool available to you to making sure that we, or commanders or officers on scene, are looking for the best possible outcome. And some officers are trained in certain specifics, because if they're on the SWAT team, it's a collateral assignment. And as a collateral assignment, you could be working in the field or in investigations or in other areas. So it is really important that we have this equipment, and it really shows the quality and the caliber of training and crisis intervention training and a lot of other different things that this team typically trains on, to making sure that there are a lot of high critical incidents that we do respond to. And the goal is to make sure that incident is safe and the best possible outcome without having to use any of this equipment. But it's really very, very important that we have it.
So primarily the SWAT team would use this kind of equipment?
The SWAT team uses a lot of this
Okay.
equipment, but there are some SWAT members that are in the SWAT team as a collateral assignment that are working in the patrol division, investigations, or other areas within the police department.
Would be nice if everybody could see this equipment, if you're going to have some kind of a open house or something to show it. Maybe they'd feel safer. I know I would, if I know our police department has all these tools that they need. So thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Just to follow up on that, they have brought out those SWAT vehicles to the police department open house here, I don't know what it's called.
We do
They have
national,
brought it out, National Night Out.
Then I need to get out more.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I
yeah.
will say AMRAP has been in the Veterans Parade. They do have the AMRAP.
we're in the Parade of Lights during December, National Night Out.
I'll take my
It's-
horn next year.
I don't know, but we're often asked to come and provide community presentations. You'd be surprised how the MRAP vehicle and our canines are one of the most top priorities to come on with the community.
Popular. Very
I do
good.
have one more question, sorry. Do you have a minimum quota that you need to meet to keep, like, inventory? And if you do, how do you replenish it? Do you need to request funding? And how could we help?
So we do not have a quota as to when we apply for more products. We keep an inventory every time we launch on a mission. We take an inventory afterwards. How many chemical munitions we have left, how many 40 millimeter rounds we use, how many diversionary devices we deployed. So we'll keep a running count of those, and then once it gets low enough, we'll put in, but there is no set amount.
I have one question for you, Chief.
Yes.
This MRAP vehicles, one of them was, the usage was 5 times. The other one, 13 times, the ICAC vehicle. Now, the total expense on that is that for both of them, 148,000?
So are you referring to
MRAP
Rescue
vehicle,
1 and
the
2?
big- The big vehicle, the big truck.
Yeah,
MRAP, AMRAP.
yes, so there was a total of 30,000, yes, for both of them.
The 148,000 is,
Oh, the 148, so that's different? Yeah, no, the 148,900 was specifically used for the mobile command vehicle.
What is it that expense consisted of? I mean,
I mentioned earlier, so we did a complete renovation on it. We had to put new
Okay.
equipment, computers, radios,
Okay.
technology, yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Chief, the one that you're going to city council, was one slide, I think, before the last one? Something that you needed to go. I thought it was a vehicle.
Oh,
Is it- if
so
they
this
don't-
148,000, because of the price, we went to council and got approval in June 17th of 2025 for those expenditures.
Okay, so there's no going back to ask them for?
No.
Okay.
No.
Because I thought if you were going to, maybe if they haven't seen the interior of the mobile vehicle, it's good to do a video or something to show them what's in there, so that they're more apt to supporting it?
Yeah, no, we've already got the approval, man.
Okay.
That's a great idea, though. Maybe we can have an updated photo.
Do you guys look for any particular grants for any upgrades that you need or any artillery that you guys need?
Great
Do you guys
question.
and do you guys have a grant writer on staff?
So we're kind of experts on leveraging grant funds. I think we're lower now, but at one point we had 13 active grants totaling $8 million. So we pursue grants regularly. We don't have a grant writer on staff. We do have myself and a management analyst that primarily write any grants that we have to do. So the mobile command vehicle is a really good example of an upgrade that was partially funded by a grant. And so what we did is we had received a technology grant from the COPS office, and so we utilized some department funds, and we utilized some grant funds to pay for that upgrade. So the other example we mentioned is if funding were available, we're looking for another tactical armored vehicle. And so we have been seeking grants for that. To be clear, in order for us to even apply for a grant related to anything AB 481, we must have city council permission to do so. We cannot budget or apply for funds without their permission. So we did, I believe it was fall of 2024, go for permission to seek funding for both the mobile command vehicle upgrade and also for an armored vehicle. So we do have that authorization to do that, and we've turned in a couple of grant applications. We have one pending right now. We haven't heard whether or not we'll be funded. But yes, we very much pursue grant funding whenever we can.
Thank you.
Okay, I think that's more or less, Chief, this other presentation, human trafficking, you going to do it tonight? Or-
Yes.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, then
We
we'll
can
go
do
ahead
it.
and ready for that.
You're ready for that? Excellent, thank you. Public comment?
What's that?
If we have any public comment,
Okay,
On the
sorry.
presentation?
My name is Eric Peterson, and Tanya already answered one question I had, which was yours also. Is the mobile command vehicle the original one we had? Yes? Oh, boy. I'm surprised they were able to get away with $150,000 on that thing. Anyway, my main concern was actually taken care of when I was talking to Commander Warner earlier in the meeting. My background is I spent 2.5 years as an armorer in the United States Army, meaning I spent all day, every day, taking care of maintenance, security, and some repairs on weapons. And I grew to detest M16 rifles because they are essentially junk. Vietnam veterans would refer to them as Mattel. And we have moved on from M16s. Basically, the problem is they jam, unless you take care of them perfectly, which is impossible, they tend to jam. And they can jam at a really bad time. But when I was talking to Commander Warner, he pointed out that we have M4 rifles. I'm not familiar with them, but they're supposed to be the replacement for M16s because too many people got killed with M16s, or a later version of the M16, which again I would not be familiar with. And I think that's really well-needed progress, because the M16, those are the first ones we had, they could blow up. Thank you.
Anyone else? No? Okay, any comments on Zoom, Martha?
No comments via Zoom.
Comments? Okay, committee members' comments? Starting over here? No? None?
We need to get more people in here. This is very low turnout, and I'm at fault for that as well. But we do need to get more people here. I've heard of a pilot program that the California Highways.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we need to, it was a public comment regarding the AB 481.
Oh, still the presentation? Oh, okay.
We're going to move to the next one.
Okay, all right.
No comments?
Oh, wait, no.
Okay, then we're done with that, no action. Okay, Chief, ready for your report.
Thank you. Now we're going to move on to the human trafficking and prostitution update, and Commander Warner will provide you that presentation.
Thank you very much. So before we go into the actual update on it, I want to give you some historical information kind of on how we got to this point. So in 2022, the Safer Streets for All Act was passed, and what that did was it repealed Penal Code 653.22, loitering with the intent to commit prostitution, which was a misdemeanor. That went into effect January 1st, 2023, and across California, we saw an immediate uptick in prostitution activity. Here in Salinas, we saw an immediate uptick, probably about 20 to 30 plus women and men on the area which we call the Blade, which I'll go over here in a second. So that's kind of how we got here. That was our greatest tool that we used to actually contact the sex workers, the sex purchasers, and it was a misdemeanor, so at the time, if it was likely to continue, we could arrest on that, we could take them to jail, we can offer them resources, but since that was taken away, all we had was the city code 21-32, which is an infraction, and the difference between an infraction and a misdemeanor is an infraction you can only write a citation for, and then release. So that's kind of how we got to where we are today. So once they took that tool away from us, we knew at the police department that we cannot address this solely as a law enforcement issue. We had to look at this more holistically. So what we did was we created this city cross department coordination team with the Library and Community Services, Public Works, Police, the City Attorney's Office, and Community Development to get the entire city involved in this conversation and try to come up with solutions. Next slide, please. So the area known as the Blade, if you ever hear the term the Blade, that just means any area of a city that's known for prostitution. So the area in Salinas is this small 4-block area between Alisal and East Market that's boundaried by Kern, Kings, and North Madera. So that's usually where the sex workers congregate and work. So that was a focus area initially. Next slide, please. So what we did was we scheduled a community meeting. We had it on September 16th. Our initial plan, or what we initially proposed, was to, one, get rid of food trucks in the area because of the loitering issue, get additional lighting, cameras, and then a parking permit for that area. So at the community meeting, we discussed all of our proposal, and we asked for feedback, and the feedback was, well, we don't want to get rid of the food trucks, okay? We don't want a parking permit program there, but we do want the cameras and we do want lighting. And they requested that the cameras and lighting extend all the way down Roosevelt to Wood Street and encompass La Paz Park. So that's kind of where we got our proposal. So we went before City Council. They approved the project. Phase 1 is complete. We have 4 cameras up at Market in Kern, Market in Madera, and Alisal in Kern and Alisal Madera. Unfortunately, across Roosevelt, we have to install solar poles. We cannot install on the PG&E poles because they do not belong to us. So that's going to take a little time to do. But it is planned. We're just waiting on the funding. We recently had a statewide operation called Reclaim and Rebuild. This is a statewide operation where most task forces and larger agencies go out and actually focus on this Blade area and focus on these sex traffickers. Because our main focus when it comes to any enforcement is providing resources and help to all the sex workers, especially those who are being trafficked. So we went out and we were able to arrest 5 for human trafficking, and we rescued 2 juveniles during that actual operation. Multiple citations and warrant requests were issued for Penal Code 647B, which is prostitution. Now, AB 379, ever since the Safer Streets for All Act was enacted, several assembly people and senators tried to reinstate it. It's been shot down every time. AB 379 is a little different. This one focuses solely on the sex purchasers, not the sex workers. So this was actually enacted January 1st. It created 653.25, which is for the sex purchasers, which is similar to the 653.22, loitering with the intent to commit prostitution, but this is only, again, for the purchasers. If they're in an area known for prostitution, circling, flagging down people, they can be stopped, cited, and arrested for 653.25. And that is the update, and I'm available for any questions.
That's it, any comments?
When you say cited and arrested, where does it, either one, right?
So,
Is it after a number of citations and they can get arrested, or how's that?
so for a misdemeanor, they're arrested, and they can be released on a citation. I believe it's 853.6 says we can only take people to jail on a misdemeanor arrest for certain circumstances. Likely to continue is one of them. So if it's their first time being arrested for that, technically we can't take them to jail. If it's likely to continue, likely to reoccur, then we can take them to jail at that point. And how long they stay in jail, that's up to Monterey County Sheriff's Office.
And any work or any plans for dealing with the hotels and motels? 'Cause obviously they have cameras, they see the trafficking coming in and out.
Yes,
Is there
so
any-
we're working very closely with the hotels and motels. We have the contact information for most of the owners and managers for the hotels. We've posted the human trafficking literature that must be visible in every hotel. Everybody's in compliance at this point in the city of Salinas, and we are constantly going back there checking on that. And they have worked with us many times on human trafficking.
Thank you.
You mentioned City Code 2122, is that correct, as a
32.
32? Is there a way to update that city code for harsher punishment? Is that?
So no, we actually looked into that. We spoke to the city attorney and we spoke to the actual district attorney about that. So since there is no law on the California books, we can't upgrade our city code past the infraction.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, great question.
I grew up, I just realized I grew up on the Blade. I grew up at 543 Roosevelt Street. So it's not something to be proud of for sure, but I do know the parking situation there is tough.
Yes.
And I do know enforcement would be key for parking. So I understand the concern there. You mentioned lighting and cameras were selected as priorities, but solar lighting, due to funding, has been delayed. Do you have a figure that you're looking for to implement solar lighting as an option?
So the figure for the entire project was just under $100,000. And we spent just under half of that on phase 1.
Thank you. And yesterday, of all days, I stumbled across this social media account that it is very much just focused on Kern Street. And it is very obvious what happens on Kern Street. And I'm a little bit curious to see if that is any form of, if those videos, if those people involved, can that be used to build a case against individuals?
It can, but it can't be used directly to make arrests, unfortunately. But that, again, that would be up to the city attorney and the district attorney's office to make those cases.
That's all my questions. Thank you.
I do have one, and forgive me if this isn't correct, but, so you're just arresting the purchaser, so to say, somebody seeking out a prostitute as opposed to the sex worker itself, theirself.
Under 653.25, yes, it's only directed at the sex purchaser. So the 647B prostitution is a little bit more difficult to prove, since there has to be an agreement made to exchange something of value for sex. And quite honestly, unless they actually admit to that, or we're in the car with them, it's very difficult to prove.
Okay. Thank you. I wanted to break that down. I didn't know how that went. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How about undercover police? Have you ever tried to use that to just, hopefully they get the message that, you know, we don't need them here?
Have we done undercover operations? Yes, we have.
Undercover, yeah, okay. That's all I have. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I don't have any questions. Any
Oh,
public comments on this?
One more thing. I am, thank you for focusing on this area and taking it serious and going out there with all these people that constantly went to city council. It proved that it is an area of concern, especially since there were children involved. So thank you for doing that and involving all the departments. Maybe we can do that more on other projects as well, so we can solve some of our big problems that we have in the city of Salinas. That was a good strategy that you used to solicit libraries and public works and all the other departments. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Chief Acosta really stresses collaboration.
Yes.
That's exactly what we did in this
Great,
instance.
thank you. That's it, thank you. No more. Thank you for the presentation.
Public comments?
Hi, name is Eric Peterson. I'm not advocating anything here, but I mentioned earlier I was in the Army. I was stationed in Germany. Germany does not have a prostitution problem. It's legal. And they are able to handle it essentially like a zoning issue. And so neighborhoods don't have to be impacted. And they don't have to take up a lot of police time or anything like that. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. My name is Joe Alvarado, District 5. As you guys were talking about the solar lighting project, I know that in District 5, Andrew Sandoval has been pushing for the solar program. Instead of replacing the copper wiring and the lights that have been around town that are being stolen, maybe as an advisory council or body here, you guys can make recommendations to the city council to maybe look into this project before spending the money on copper wires that can probably just be, stolen again, and end the issue of the lighting issue, going around Salinas. Again, recommendation.
Thank you. Anybody? Any comments on Zoom?
No comments via Zoom.
Thank you.
I do have one in regards to just the zoning issue. Our particular area, we do focus on child sex trafficking as well, right? We do have a problem with that in our area.
So I wouldn't say a problem. We are addressing it. Like I mentioned in our presentation, we did rescue 2 juvenile sex workers. We go out there, we have a dedicated district attorney that deals with that, and she's very proactive. So if we have any information that there are underage sex workers, we actively investigate that. The district attorney also actively investigates that, and we have a great relationship with them.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And just as a friendly reminder, we need to finish within the next 5-6 minutes, so it will be a short comment. Thank you.
I'll make it fast, I promise. Thank you, everyone, for the presentations, and I look forward to the meeting right after. If I may request, I know we have a vacant position on the advisory committee for District 5. If there is, and I know it's a council member's responsibility to fill it, but maybe there could be an announcement made to the community if anyone's interested, since anyone in the city can participate. That would be great. Joey, thank you so very much for coming up and highlighting that solar light. And the reason I asked for the cost of it is because yesterday in City Council, I believe specifically solar lighting was discussed. I know it's a problem across the board, so I'm glad that that is an option and that's something that we're working towards. And for a future agenda item, I would like to request a presentation on the SPOA. I feel strongly that the SPOA has a strong influence when it comes to the residents' perception on public safety issues. And I would like to, and I think there's a lot of ambiguity and unanswered questions as to what the SPOA is, who it represents, and why it's important.
Yes, I didn't get his name. His name is Joey. I just want to thank you for being proactive. I've always said the city's more reactive than proactive, so I thank you for that, because I think we should be thinking, forward-thinking, rather than just following all the problems that we have. So stop them when we can, and solar lighting is a great idea. We had in our area, we had 3 residents that went and put up solar lighting, and they only lasted 2 days. So they have to be high enough so they can't be reached, but they took them down in 2 days, so they stole them, but that's a real positive thing. I don't know if anybody, on traffic, the trafficking, if you've seen a bus around the neighborhoods that park there, and this is all around Creek Bridge, and Creek Bridge is very big. It's a white, like a big milk truck with very little windows, always covered, and they just parked there for days, and somebody had said in the neighborhood that they were probably trafficking children. I don't know, I've never seen it. It's related to trafficking. I mean, not prostitution trafficking, but it's trafficking, so I just wanted to bring that up. Right? I don't know if the police are aware of that, if they've seen big vans that are just parked there and there's nobody there. We've knocked, and it's part of trafficking anyway, but it's not prostitution trafficking, it's children trafficking.
Thank you. I'm sorry we had to interrupt, but we're running
Yeah,
out
I
of
know.
time.
Thank you.
My only question is, I've always been wondering on anything, how can we get all this information out to the community? I mean, it's real important information, and no one is attending, and we need to get this information out. I mean, how can we get that going? That's my comment, and maybe we can think on that, all of us, and come up with a solution. Thank you. Being that everything is said and done, we'll call the meeting done. Thank you.